Okay, a very good morning to each one of you. I trust that you all are well and safe. Thank you for joining another one of our exciting training sessions this morning. For those that have joined us for the past two sessions, I'm sure that you have learned sufficient as you start preparing for the examination. And we're looking forward to another exciting session with you this morning. My name is Denzel Chetty, and I will be your program coordinator for this exciting training session ahead of us. Together with me, I have a panel of experts that come from different areas in the university. We've got colleagues from the Academic Development Open Virtual Lab, from the Student Retention Unit. We've got colleagues that are joining us that are also academics, that are digital learning advisors, and that are from the regions that are also joining us. We also have people from the myUNISA unit as well that are joining us. So we've got, and also not forgetting our Oxford unit as well. So we've got a good group of people that are here today to guide you through the exams and how to prepare for the upcoming exams. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's an early morning session, so thank you for joining us. And I know that many of you are already stressed out with the exams, trying to think about how are we going to approach the exams, more specifically the platforms that we're going to be using. And some of you are also stressed out about the content that you need to study as well. But in today's session, we're going to try to alleviate some of the stress and help you on how to navigate the exam platform, right? So our focus today, this morning, is going to be more specifically about the platform that you're going to use, the proctoring tools that you're going to use, and how to prepare for the upcoming examination. Now, this webinar, as with the other webinars, will focus on how to navigate the online exam platform. Now, I'm sure many of you are a bit skeptical about the platform that we're using. We're going to address some of the challenges that you have today as part of this. Secondly, what are the different online assessments that will be used by UNISA? And we want to walk you through some of the online assessments that will be used by UNISA. Then thirdly, you've heard this concept being used at UNISA, and I'm sure you've heard it in other spaces as well. What exactly is academic integrity? Okay, so what do we mean by academic integrity in an online platform? We're then going to look at what is the proctoring apps, what are the proctoring apps that will be used at UNISA, what exactly is a proctoring app, what are the purposes of it, and then some good news. We know that many of you want to explore the exam platform. You want to see what the platform looks like. You also want to see what the exam options look like, but you also want to explore the proctoring tools. And the exciting information that we share with you today is that we've actually created a mock exam site. So we've uploaded a mock MCQ exam. We've uploaded a mock take-home exams, and these are just for you to explore the platform. And we've also integrated the proctoring tools as part of it as well. So this means that you can go onto this mock exam site, do the mock test, and also get first-hand experience of how the proctoring tools works before you get into the examination, right? And we're going to share a little bit about that site with you today as well. Now, we will also engage, look at what are the provisions made for students, students with special needs, what support will UNISA provide to them, and then we also have the students of contact center and what support they will be providing during the examination as well. So as you can see, we really have a fun-packed program with a lot of content lined up for you. Now, how this session will work, if you haven't attended any of our other training sessions, so let me give you a little background. So we will have a lineup of presenters, and they will present on the topics that you now see as part of the program. We will also make use of the chat tool, right? So on the top of your screen or on the bottom of your screen, depending on what device you're using, whether it's a mobile or whether it's a laptop, you will find a little Q&A icon at the top, right? So that Q&A icon is used for chat. If you post your comments and questions, we have a group of experts that are working in the background, academics, student support, various different sectors that will provide you with the type of answers that you need. Now, all you need to do is post your comments. Now, before you start posting, the first thing you need to realize is that we normally get an influx of questions. So we have like 300, 400 just coming through one time. So to have some sense of order on this, what we want you to do is look at the program and post your questions only on the items that we will be discussing. So for example, when we start discussing academic integrity, you post your questions relating to academic integrity. This will allow us to answer those specific questions thematically, but it'll also help us to make sure that before you ask a question, you actually get some of the information that we are presenting as well. So this would help you navigate through the platform, especially when we have this fast pace of questions coming in. Now, to make sure that you are all on track and you can find the chat tool, I want you to do something for me quickly this morning. get on your device, look at a Q&A on the top or Q&A chat, and I want you to simply post the number 1 in this chat. Now, it will show us on our side that you can hear us, you can see the screen, and you are able to navigate the chat. So simply click on chat, go to the QA, simply click on the number 1, just post on the number 1, just don't click, just post number 1 in the chat, and on our side, we will be able to see that you are with us and you fully can engage us as we go. Right, so just post number 1 and then we know that you're with us. Okay, let's kick off the presentation for today. So it's my pleasure today to invite our first presenters who's going to be presenting on accessing the Open myExams support, how to access your exam paper and the exam type. It's my pleasure to invite Richard Wright. Richard is one of the academic development, is a member of the Academic Development Open Virtual Hub, and is an educational specialist with us. Richard, welcome. Let me hand over the platform to you, Richard, as you start walking us through the first session. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Denzel. So first off, we're going to have a look at the open course site that was mentioned. The link is in the chat as well, so you can go to the chat and click on the link. Otherwise, please take a picture of here. You can scan the QR code with your mobile phone to access the site, or you can type in the URL at the bottom. So it's just tinyurl.com/myexams 2022. So please, if you can, with a mobile phone, take a photo of the screen, or else in the chat the link has been posted as well, so that we know that you can access this platform, because all the content that we will be covering today is available on this platform. So it's very important that you are able to access it. So let me just give you a quick introduction of what you will find on this platform. So when you open up the site, you will notice it looks quite a lot like myUnisa, but please do not log in on this page. This is an open course, so it's available to everybody. So please read the introduction. The introduction will just show you what is being covered on here. So we do cover how to navigate the exams portal, what is the different types of assessments, how do you find out what type of proctoring you're going to be used, what is the proctoring tools, and how to install the proctoring tools. Then we also cover aspects such as academic integrity and how to approach different types of questions. For instance, if it's an essay type of question or MCQ type of question, how do you answer these questions during the exams so that you make the most of the time that you have available. Remember, if you have any exam-related inquiries, your first contact number will be the toll-free number, and we will introduce you to the service later as well. So on the main page, you'll also notice there's a webinar and blast session schedule. So if you want to join any of the future sessions, you can easily scan the QR code from here or click on the join link, and this will automatically join you. You will notice, just for example, tomorrow we will have blast sessions. So most of you might not be familiar with blast sessions, but blast sessions are essentially feedback sessions. So this is where we allow you to open your mic and you can ask your questions directly to us. And we try and get to as many questions and show as many solutions as possible. But when you join tomorrow for one of these blast sessions, please click on one of the links. If there's a lot of people in blast session 1, please go to blast session 2. All of them run at the same time. So join the one with the least amount of students in them so that we can get to your question quicker. So that will run for 2 hours tomorrow from 6 to 8. So if there's any questions that you have after the session that you perhaps just want some more clarity on, please join here and we will address your question directly. From here, you will start the material with the orientation. It gives the introduction, the lessons that's covered, but most importantly, also start with this open pre-course assessment. This will just give us an idea when you start with this course, what is your current knowledge? So that in the end, we also do a post-course assessment to see that we have taught you all the aspects correctly, and perhaps there's areas where we have to modify the content a bit to make it more clearer for you. So please do the pre-course assessment and then in the conclusion, the post-course assessment. So you'll notice the lessons are numbered from lesson 1 to 6. So you can just work through them from lesson 1 to 6 and then finally the conclusion. You'll notice we actually have a mock exams on here as well. And this is after the conclusion, because before you do this mock exam, please complete all the lessons so that you know exactly what to expect and you have set up all your tools or devices correctly to attempt these mock exams. A lot of you also want to know about the recordings. So all the recordings will be uploaded on here. So if today you miss out, perhaps you get load shedding or you just want to get in the future view again one of the live sessions, the recordings are available on here. And then we've also got downloadable guides. So if you've got a, say, data limitations, you can always come to the downloadable guides, download the PDFs and read it at your own time as well, or even print them out if you want to have them just close to you when you're writing exams. So then we've also got a frequently asked questions. Have a look at the frequently asked questions. We will be updating the frequently asked questions as the exams goes along as well, especially when we get exactly where you are struggling, or perhaps there's some tips that we can provide so you can easily adhere your exams. Finally, we've got a tool as well to check what proctoring you're going to be using. We will introduce that tool a bit later. And then finally, the support contact information. The primary line of contact will be the toll-free number or exams inquiries at unisa.ac.za. But as well with this, as the exams goes along and colleges provide their own line of support, we will add the information on here. So always just keep this page handy as well during the exams. But let's get started. So with the first session or the first lesson, so how do you now actually access your exams, the myExams portal? So it's actually very easy. You open the myUnisa, you click on the button myExams, you select from the list the date, and then also from there it will then display the modules, and you click on your module and this will log you in. So I'm just going to click on do a live one over here. Let me just go here. So on myUnisa, you'll notice there's a myExams link. So you don't need to even log into myUnisa. You just click on the myExams link. So just to note here, you'll have to select the date. So for instance, tomorrow exams are starting. So there's a whole list of available modules for tomorrow already. But note, it's only 5 days in advance. So if you're writing in a week's time, your modules will not be loaded yet. So just give it, within 5 days, you can come and have a look and make sure that your module is listed on here. When you click on a date, it will list all the modules being written on that specific day. And from here, you can select on your module. You'll notice here, it will also indicate to you what type of proctoring you're going to be used. So if you don't want to set up your proctoring now already, we'll introduce you to how you can have a look at what type of proctoring you're going to be using. And we will take you step by step through the proctoring. So if I know a lot of students, are really afraid of these tools, but we are going to really introduce and make sure that you know exactly how these tools work. So that when the exam comes, you can rather focus on answering the questions than having the tools set up. So as mentioned, you just select one of your modules. This will open the login screen. So here you can log in with your, with your myUnisa credentials. So it's not any special credentials that you will need to log in here. And just also make sure that you know your password. A lot of us save our passwords in the browser, and then when you go to myUnisa, and then when you get here, you perhaps forgot what your password is. So please make sure that you know your myUnisa password before you write your exams so that you can easily log into this platform. So once you log in, it will open up a specific instance for your college. So for instance, if you're at the College of Science, Engineering, Technology, it will be CSET that you will log into. And you'll notice the dashboard actually looks pretty much the same as what you are used to on my modules. So, and it works actually exactly the same. So all you need to do is click on My Exams, the button at the top, and this will list all your modules. As you do with your My Modules on myUnisa, You click on here, you select your module. Let me just get back here quickly to our course. So if we look at the content over here on accessing and navigating the platform, so you'll click on the My Exams button, you'll select the date that you're going to be writing on, you'll select the module that you'll be writing on, you'll log in with your myUNISA credentials. From the My Exams button, you'll select the module that you're going to be writing, and this will open up the page like a normal course page. And here you'll see at the bottom right, there's the exam that you're going to be writing. So you just click on the exam, and then depending if it's a take-home exam or a MCQ type of exam, you can start a quiz for MCQs, or you can upload a file. And just remember, for all the sections that we have here, we've also got a little video. So if you just want a quick clip of all the steps, you can always just browse down to or scroll down to the bottom of the lessons, and there is a little introductory video as well. It does not, it's about usually just only 2 or 3 minutes. So now we looked at how you access your exams, but what are the types of exams that you're going to encounter when you actually now go to this platform? So very importantly, there's 2 types. It's the MCQ and the take-home. So the names might not be familiar with you, but you're actually already familiar with the tools being used. The MCQ uses the quiz tool. So if you did any assignments with multiple choice questions, that it's exactly the same. The only difference will be the proctoring that's attached to it. So when you think MCQ, think of the quiz tool that you've used for assignments. When you think of take-home is something where you're going to upload a file. So when you think take-home, think of the assignment submissions button. So if you have done a written assignment, it's going to work exactly the same as the take-home, the assignments that you did. So on here, we've got the steps exactly how you do each of these. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this section at the moment. When we get to the mock exam, we'll take you step by step through how do you actually approach to answer these different types of examinations. But please note the guides are on here, and with some special tips what you need to look out for. But when we get to the section on the mock exams, we will have a deeper practical demonstration of how do you actually do this. So for now, I'm going to hand over back to Program Director, just to also now introduce you, before we get to the proctoring tools, why is academic integrity so important? So thank you, Denzel.
Thank you very, very much, Richard, for unpacking that so nicely. I think you've really given the students a very good orientation to what they can expect on the myExams portal, especially those links that you've provided. I think for those students that have taken note of that, please remember we're going to post some of those links on the actual Q&A side, so you can also follow that as well. Those sites that Richard has mentioned were created specifically to provide you that orientation, but to also standardize the training content so that you can access it at any time. Now, as Richard mentioned, you've now got an idea of the different exam types. What exactly is academic integrity? Now, before we can even get to the proctoring tools, why do we need academic integrity at UNISA? Especially students that are now looking at qualifications that are offered at UNISA. Why is it important for us to emphasize academic integrity? At this time, it's our pleasure to invite Dr. Ingrid Murray. Ingrid is an academic, but also very much in the space on academic integrity. She has researched and done a lot of work in it, and she is very well acquainted with what you need to know as a student. It's our pleasure at this time to invite Ingrid to unpack this for us. So Ingrid, thank you very much for joining us and also for sharing your expert knowledge and insights on what exactly is academic integrity. I know our students are going to find this a very useful session as you start picking up on those essential tips that they need to focus on. So thank you, Ingrid. Let me hand over to you, Ingrid, as you walk us through this. Thanks, Ingrid.
Hello. Hi, apologies. I was just struggling to share. Welcome everyone, and thank you for allowing me to to talk to you a little bit today about academic integrity and why it is so important for academic integrity to be to have academic integrity at the forefront of your mind. So when we are talking about academic integrity, we are really speaking about 6 values. And these are the values of honesty, fairness, respect, responsibility, courage. And these are the foundational, they're personal values, but really these values is the foundation of what academic integrity is. You need to be honest to yourself, but also to others. And being honest in your dealings with yourself and others leads to building trust. And when you have trust, part of that is handing in thoughtful and original work when you are doing your academic work. And that's also an aspect of fairness, because fairness is by acknowledging the sources where you get your work from. And we're going to talk a little bit later about plagiarism and things like that. And part of this is just accepting and knowing that all of your actions impact not only yourself, but everyone else in the university. And and courage, having courage in how you act and what you do at the university. So academic integrity does not just impact yourself and what you do, it impacts everyone. So on an individual level, there's very serious consequences for students that's found guilty of acting without integrity. Research shows that students that cheat at university also then go in and cheat in their jobs. And, you know, if we think about corruption in South Africa, that's a really serious problem for us to deal with. But it's not just a personal issue. Whenever somebody cheats at university, it has a domino effect on all of us. It harms the reputation of the university because employers then choose not to hire graduates from a certain university because they have a bad reputation for having cheated. It can also lead to de-accreditation by something like the Council for Higher Education, but also professional bodies such as SAICA might also decide to de-accredit our degrees. And this affects all students, not just those students that acted dishonestly. So what forms of academic dishonesty are there? Well, there's contract cheating or ghostwriting, where you can buy answers from the web, or you might see them advertised on Telegram. The problem with these, apart from, of course, being cheating to buy them, is that often these companies give the same answer to more than one student. So lecturers can easily find you out, even if you change a few things here and there. There's always students that buy the answer and it doesn't change anything. So we can easily identify these patterns. So if you know about this happening, report it anonymously to either your lecturer or to the whistleblower hotline that we'll show again later. Buying or selling an exam paper or assessment is a serious issue, and it's linked to our previous example of contract cheating, because in order for somebody to work out the answers, it means that they have to have access to the exam paper. So buying or selling the exam paper, or even giving it to somebody that shouldn't have access to it, is a serious offence that can lead to expulsion from the university. Identity misrepresentation is when you pay somebody else to write your exam, and that person, or they could also be doing it for free. It's not just when you pay for it, but it means so you are not writing the exam, and we can now see students who are doing this because of the proctoring. We can see that it is not you writing the exam, or that the same person is writing 10 exams for one module. And again, this is a very serious offence and can even be illegal. Sharing your answers or working together. I think study groups are a really good idea, and I always encourage students to have study groups. But those study groups, while they can be a source of support, and sometimes can also be a place where students either explicitly or inadvertently start cheating by sharing answers with one another while they're writing their exams. So make sure that you set rules for your study group about how you will assist one another and what you're assisting one another with. And you know, we often find out of this answer sharing through sites like Telegram or WhatsApp, and all of this is serious offences. Plagiarism, if you're using any idea from somebody, or words, music, images, all of this is plagiarism if you do not acknowledge that you're using it. If you're acknowledging that you're using somebody else's ideas or words, that's perfectly fine. And you acknowledge it through an in-text reference where you say, I've got this idea from Chetty 2022, and then in your reference list or your bibliography at the end of the essay, you will say Chetty 2022, and wherever you found the source. We have a MOOC if you're unsure how to reference, and it's a really important skill that you have to learn right from the first year. So at UNISA, we have this extra hour. You have your scheduled exam time, which can be 2 or 3 hours. But when that time is finished, you need to stop writing. The Invigilator app that we'll discuss a little bit later gives you 15 minutes after the exam to upload your exam question paper, and then you have to also upload it on the myUNISA platform, and you have to do it as soon as possible because that hour is there to assist you if there's any problems that you need sorting out for handing in. So what does the university do when they found out that there's cheating? So first of all, your lecturer notes the issue, and we are really good at this, I want to say. This can include plagiarism, and we work through plagiarism software to find it, or that an issue that's raised by the proctoring, whether that is, you know, hearing other voices or whether you didn't have your proctoring tool turned on as you should. So once they have identified a possible issue, they then scrutinize the evidence. So they will make a file of why they think that you are guilty of having done a certain transgression. And it's important to know that, you know, with the assignment, and if you're a first year, for example, you might just get a warning from your lecturer about not plagiarizing, but exam cheating is taken especially seriously. And what will happen is once your lecturer has identified you, they will make a file to say, okay, this is the reasons why I believe there was cheating, and then they will withhold your marks, and your academic transcript will show marks withheld pending a disciplinary hearing. A warning letter is then issued to you that tells you that you have been identified for transgressions, and you must decide within 5 days, are you going to contest, or do you accept that actually you did something incorrectly? So if you don't contest, what will happen is the matter is closed, you will receive a warning letter, and you will have to re-register for the module. If you are then found guilty of a similar offence or another offence, there will be more serious consequences for you. If you dispute the charge, there will be more investigation, there will be additional information, and a group of academics will then review this evidence, and there will be a disciplinary hearing. You have a right to access this evidence and see what there is against you. And then based, apologies, on a probability of evidence, disciplinary committee members can then find you guilty or not guilty. During this process, you have the right to see the evidence, and you also have the right to be represented by a fellow student, so an SRC member or another student if should you want. And then if you are then found guilty, a more severe penalty will be implemented. You can appeal this, and after that appeal is heard, that is the final decision. So the consequences for cheating. So you will firstly, if you are found guilty, you fail a module and there's no supplementary exam. You must re-register for the module. You will receive a warning letter, and if found guilty again of a similar offence, you will be, apologies, you will face more severe penalties, and it sits on your academic record. That means that when you give your academic record to an employer or for further studies at a different university, it will say there that you have been found guilty of a transgression. So this carries with you as you go. And I know, you know, very many employers will be very hesitant if they find out that you have been found guilty of a academic transgression. So your module registration is cancelled. You can be excluded for a period of time from the university, especially with more serious charges. You can even get a lifetime ban from the university, which means that you cannot complete your degree. In some cases where it's very serious, all of your modules can be cancelled, and they can the university can revoke a degree. So they can say what this person did is so serious that we will no longer that the degree that they were issued with is taken back in essence. You may also not be able to register with your professional council because some of the professional councils have very clear rules about ethics for their members, so you might be deregistered or not allowed to register, which in some cases means that you cannot practice the job that you trained for. And in some cases, there might be criminal charges laid against you with the SAPs. So I think I've probably scared you enough now. So what should you do? So first of all, study something you love. It's so much easier to study for something that you love than something that is a burden to you. Practice your skills. Practice how to answer MCQs. Practice how to write essays, so that you know what to do and that you don't get scared and then decide cheating is a good option. Plan your time. Most students that are found guilty of academic cheating says that part of the reason why they did it is because they were overwhelmed, they didn't have enough time to study, so therefore they resort to cheating. So plan your time right from the beginning so that you can have enough time to study. Act ethically. We've talked about everything. We've talked about those values right at the beginning of the session. Act with those values. And lastly, ask for help. If you're struggling, ask for help from somebody. And lastly, be courageous. If you find out about some of these things happening, share it with the whistleblower hotline that we have on the screen, or let your lecturer know. Thank you, everyone, and good luck with your exams. I know if you follow our guidelines and prepare, you will do well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ingrid, for unpacking that for us so nicely. You really did well with unpacking and articulating exactly what is academic integrity in the institution, and more specifically the challenges and the concerns from the university and what students must take into consideration as they're writing the upcoming exams. And I think the latter part of it, where you provide some good snippets and guidelines on how students can avoid being caught in a predicament such as being dishonest in an examination. So thank you very much for unpacking that and explaining to our students what exactly is academic integrity at UNISA. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that you know what academic integrity is, we now move on to one of the most critical issues that we see in the chat, previous sessions as well, that many students are concerned with. What exactly is a proctoring tool and how will this be used at UNISA? Now, UNISA has three proctoring tools. For those of you that have already been in the system, you should be familiar with the Invigilator app. If you were last year using it, you should be familiar with that. For those that are in the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, you would be familiar with the Iris app that is used. And this year we have a new one that is being introduced by UNISA, and that's the Moodle Proctoring Webcam. And to unpack this, we're going to have two of the Invigilator apps that will be spoken about this in the session. The one that is specifically dedicated to the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, Iris. There are colleagues that will be running specific sessions for the students that are using that app. Now, today's session, we will focus on the Moodle Proctoring app and second, the Invigilator app. So we will start. I will welcome back to the floor my colleague Richard Wright, who will walk us through what exactly is the Proctoring app. Thank you, Richard.
Hey, thank you, Denzel. So let's get started with the proctoring. So as Denzel mentioned, proctoring is vital, as you also now learned in the academic integrity, to make sure that what you are studying is being recognized by relevant authorities. So when you approach a proctoring tool, this is the same as when you went to exam-based venue and there was an invigilator walking around to make sure that it is you, it confirms your identity during the examination. They make sure you don't have any notes or any assistance from anybody else. So online proctoring tools just basically takes the replaces that invigilator that you would have had in a normal exam venue. So as Denzel mentioned, we've got three types of proctoring that's currently being used. So the first is the Moodle Proctoring that uses your webcam that we will introduce to you now. The Invigilator app that the Invigilator app team will introduce to you, but we will not be covering the Iris invigilation. There's not a lot of modules using it this semester, and it's only for the College of Science, Engineering and Technology. So if you're not in the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, you'll not be using the Iris invigilation. But if you are, there will be separate sessions that will introduce you to the Iris invigilation. So firstly, you might have gotten the communication that you might now need a profile picture. So this is actually used in combination with proctoring tools to confirm your identity. So let's just first have a look at how do you upload your profile photo on My Modules. So the steps are very, very easy. You go to myunisa.ac.za, you log in, you click on My Modules 2022, and then you click on your name at the top. And the drop-down will appear with a profile. Once you click on profile, it will open the page with a button that's next to user details, edit profile. So this will open up a list. So you'll have, for instance, general information that you will not be able to edit, but just scroll down until you find user picture. So from here, you can then upload a picture or drag and drop a picture. Just make sure of the file types that is supported. So it must be an image type of photo that you're going to upload. But if you have the correct file type, you can click on the little folder on the top, choose the file from your computer, and then upload this file. So then you'll get a little, preview of what your picture looks like. So remember, when you choose a photo, make sure your face is central to the picture. You'll see when you actually upload it why it's so critical that it's central in the picture. And also make sure that it's clear that you are easily identifiable on the picture. So once you've selected the file and it gives you the preview, you must scroll all the way to the bottom and then select Update Profile. And then you'll notice your picture changes in the top right navigation with your profile picture. So this is the example of a very good profile picture. And if you, just want to go through the steps, the steps is available on the course site. Now, secondly, we've told you about the free invigilation tools. So how do you actually now going to know what type of tools are you going to be using? For instance, If you're not perhaps going to be using the Invigilator app, you will not be able to register on the Invigilator app. So it's very critical that you know and make sure that you are using the Invigilator, what type of proctoring you're going to be using. The Invigilator app also have their own method where you can also just double confirm that you are using the app before registering on it. But let's have a look at this one. What proctoring tool will my module use? So if you click on this page over here, you can type in your module code over here. I'll just put in a random code. And then here you will see it will, for instance, use the Invigilator app or Moodle Proctoring. So we'll get to Moodle Proctoring now. So please go make sure already which proctoring you're going to be using so that you can prepare for that now, so you don't have to worry about it closer to the exams. So you can set it up already, do the mock exams, and then you know you are ready for when the exams come. So the first one we're going to be looking at is the Moodle Proctoring. And we'll do a demo of this where we take you step by step through it as well, when we get to the mock exams. But what you need to know about the webcam is you don't need to install any apps for it. It's part of the system. All you need is a webcam. So you can use your phone, and we'll use your cell phone's camera. If you do it, answer the questions with your mobile phone. If you're going to use a laptop, it will use your webcam built into your laptop. But if you're using a desktop PC, you will need to get an additional webcam to make sure that you've got a webcam installed, else you will not be able to continue and complete the MCQ quizzes. So another aspect also to just know is the webcam, the Moodle Proctoring, is only for MCQ type of examinations. So that's the quizzes that you will be doing. So for the take home, the assignments that you're going to be submitting, it's not going to be used for that. That will most likely be the Invigilator app. So MCQs, if you know it's going to be an MCQ type of examination, you most likely are going to use the webcam proctoring tool. So you'll notice with the icon of a quiz tool, you'll start click on the button to start the examination. You will get this message to indicate that this is webcam. You'll also get a pop-up on your screen to allow your camera. So on your phone, it looks very much similar. It will pop up in the middle of the screen. On a desktop, it's more towards the top left usually, but you need to click allow to allow this camera. If you accidentally select block, you will have to then click in the search bar at the top and allow the camera again to use it. You will not be able to continue with the quiz assessment if you don't allow the camera to be used. Also very important, when you use your camera, you should be very clear on the picture, central to the picture. Any interference with the camera can be seen as academic dishonesty. So make sure you're clear on the camera. Do not tamper with the camera to point it to the ceiling or make it blurry in any way, because that can be seen as misconduct. So once you click the allow button, you'll be able to attempt the quiz. You'll get a message that you have to confirm. So you have to tick this box. So just make sure you read this information regarding the webcam as well, and that you agree with the validation process. You will also get a little indication of what is the time limit for this assessment, and then you can select start attempt. So basically, if you get to this page, your camera is visible, you can tick this box. That's the only thing that you have to worry about the webcam proctoring. It then runs while you're completing the MCQ type of exam. You'll notice that the left navigation or the right, under the quick navigation, you'll have your webcam displayed there during the entire session. And then at the end, you just submit it like you would normally do a MCQ quiz type of assessment. So when we do the mock exams, we'll give you a demonstration of exactly how it works. But also, if you have just want to have a quick introduction to it, there is also a video available on the site that you can quickly have a look at. So for now, I will then hand over back to Denzel just to introduce the Invigilator team to do the Invigilator app, and then we'll get to the mock exams. Thank you, Denzel.
Thank you so much, Richard, for that. I think that actually clears up a lot of questions that students have had in terms of the new Moodle Proctoring app, the webcam that we are using at UNISA at the moment. So remember those key resources that Richard has mentioned, and as well as how you can access that, right? So please do that test. That mock test will actually help you out a lot. And Richard can come back and he's going to actually show us the mock exams, more specifically how to get onto that site and test these proctoring tools. Now, it's my pleasure to invite Devalt, who's going to show us a little bit about the Invigilator app. And I know some of you have already used it. For those that are new at UNISA and seeing this for the first time, this is an opportunity to hear about the Invigilator app and see exactly how it's going to be used at UNISA. So thank you very much, Devalt, for joining us today. I know you're busy with your schedule as well, so we really appreciate you taking the time and joining us and really unpacking this for our students. So let me hand over to you, Devalt. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Denzel. So let me just share my screen quickly. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, right. Cool. Thank you so much, Denzel, and thanks to everyone joining this session. So a little bit background to the Invigilator application. So I think first of all that I just want to explain as a bigger picture is that the Invigilator application is actually a smartphone or a cell phone, but a smartphone application. In other words, you need to download the application in advance if you haven't done so, and it's available from all the app stores, but I'll speak to that details. But I just want to give a little bit bigger picture. So it's a smartphone application. You can still conduct your examination if you are using a laptop or a desktop. You can still conduct your examination through the normal way. So please take note that the Invigilator application is just an invigilator. You still do everything still on the UNISA platform. You obtain your paper. If it is a take-home examination, you're going to write out by hand. You're going to scan and upload to the UNISA platforms. So all of that is still conducted by UNISA platforms and how it works. So that's something you need to make sure that you're happy with. This is just an additional tool on the side. So if when an exam starts, you log into the application, you scan the QR code, and I'll speak to that. That will be sent to you by your lecturers, communicated before the time, but it will also be made available on the test. You scan the QR code at the start of the assessment, and then the invigilation will commence on your phone. You put the phone next to you. I will speak now if you only have one device, but you put the phone next to you and you continue writing, doing your thing. It will then beep if it wants you to prompt action. So it might ask you to take a selfie, you put it down. It might ask you to take a photo of an ID, you do that and you put the phone down. In other words, it is on the side that you put the phone down. If you only have one device, so let's say you have a take-home examination, but you do view your exam paper on your smartphone. In other words, you don't have access to a desktop or a laptop, you will then access actually myExams through the application. So if you go into the application, there's a button, Access LMS. You press the button and you navigate to get access to the examination, and you view it like you would have done normally in the past. In other words, you can still use one device, but we don't force you to use one device. It's only to accommodate students that actually do the exam on the smartphone. But if you're going to do it on the desktop or laptop, you just put it next to you. So just a little bit that you can visualize that. So I think that's the first thing. Then what I want to speak is I want to speak a little bit more just specific to what the application does. So first of all, it asks you during the examination, it will ask you at a random intervals to do a few things, but many of the things it does in the background, so it's not invasive. But one of the things it will ask you maybe once, maybe twice, is to take a selfie. Now, when you register on the application, it will ask you to take a selfie, and we will then match that selfies against that original photo that you've taken. Now, what we do with that is to make sure that it's you writing, and we use, of course, facial recognition to assist us with this, but we also have what we call anti-spoofing software. So you can only take a live photo. So we call it a liveness test. So you can't take a photo of a photo or a photo of a video. So it needs to be the specific person that takes that live photo. Then at random intervals, we do audio recordings. So that's done at random intervals during the assessment. You don't know when it happens. Those are then also checked for voice. And if there's voice, they are flagged. They then checked by a team at UNISA to see if they were talking. And if that talking is suspicious, it is referred to the lecturers, which may result in going for a disciplinary. Then there's customized instructions. So that would be a different type of instructions, but that's typically to take a photo of your student card or your ID document, or to take a photo of your answer sheet if it's a take-home examination. But what you do is you just follow the prompt. So there will be instruction and you follow that instruction. So there are also some of those that will happen. All of these are at random intervals. Then quickly, also what I just want to speak to, some of the features is the built-in browser. So please take note that only if you have access to only one device is this applicable to you. But then when you log into the application, you scan the QR code. In the application, you can then press on the right top hand corner, there's a button that says Access LMS. If you press that button, it takes you then to the UNISA myExams page. And from there, you navigate like it was shown earlier in this session. In other words, you then have access to the myExams platform. Please take note that in that in-app browser, you cannot browse anything. It takes you basically to the platform you need to be. Then the script upload function. So this is only applicable to take-home examinations. So that is where you get your paper on the platform, the myUNISA platform. You get your examination paper, but you actually write it out by hand. And then afterwards, you need to scan that and upload it to myUNISA again. What we do in the Invigilator app, and that is to manage that students don't abuse the scan and upload time. Once the duration is finished, the time of writing the examination, the application will then beep and request you to take photos of each of your pages, basically to scan, and that is then uploaded to to the Invigilator dashboard, our own dashboard. You still need to, in addition, have a formal submission to myUNISA. So very important that this is not a formal submission, but lecturers do take these into account to see if you have written after that. So it is to compare what has been submitted. We compare against what the Invigilator app also took record of when your duration was finished. So that's to make sure that the two submissions are the same. So if it is a take-home examination, the app will request you to do that. If it's an MCQ examination, that requires the Invigilator. There's actually only 2 modules in the entire institution that will require the Invigilator, which is an MCQ, so you need to go and check. Then this will not happen. So very important. Then out of app time. So what happens there is you are not allowed to leave the application during the assessment. In other words, you can't minimize it or you can't exit the application. Now, the point is you can minimize it physically and you can exit it physically if there's an emergency and you need to call somebody, but then that is flagged on the dashboard and that is then seen as you haven't used the application. So you are not allowed to leave the application for the duration of the assessment. So very important that you take note that you're not allowed to do that. Then what I want to do is I just want to quickly stop here, and I also just want to refer to the exams page that we've been referring to. And I want to specifically go to Proctoring Tools and just take you through a few important factors. So if you go to that Proctoring Tools lesson, you can then click on the Invigilator application, and there you will find information on the Invigilator. But I want to take you to what is important. So first of all, for everyone, and I hope this is clear in this session for everyone attending, the first point is that you actually use the UNISA checker to see what proctoring solution will be required for your modules. So you need to check, and it might be that for one module you need this and for another something else, and that you know and that you then prepare. So for example, if none of your modules are going to be invigilated by the Invigilator, you won't be able to register for the Invigilator, and it will tell you that your email address has not been giving permission or whatever the message is. So please, that's the first point, to make sure which proctoring solution. We've also added a module checker to make sure if the Invigilator is required, but this only tells you if the Invigilator is required or not. Remember, if it says no, there's then a good chance that it's either the Moodle proctoring solution for MCQs or it's IRIS that is being required. But you can double check. Then if you know, so that's the first step. Then if you know you must use the Invigilator app, you go and download that from any app store. So if you've got a Huawei device which doesn't have access to Android or to Android, the Google Play Store, then you download it from the Huawei store. If you've got an Apple device, you download it from the Apple Store. And if you have an Android device, from Google Play. In other words, it is an application on a smartphone. So you go and download that. Please also take note, there is a 7-minute training video that also explains to you how to set up yourself, which is crucial that you go and watch that. It is crucial to prepare in advance. Already, if I see some of these questions in the Q&A, guys, it's important to prepare properly for this and in advance. If on the day of the exam, 30 minutes before the time, you struggle to register, there's no excuse and we can't help you because you should have done that before the time. So very important to sort out technical issues before the time. Then what I want to show you as well is there's a link to our student user guide, and I'm going to quickly open that and just show you a few things. This document is only 20 pages and it is big, written, big, and there's pictures in between, so it's going to take you literally 15 minutes to go through this document. You need to look at this document. So I want to take you through it quickly, just highlight here and there something. So there's a description of the app. Then there's the video that was also in the link before that just takes you through how it works. But then very important, here is a number of our technical support call center. So it's a WhatsApp number. You WhatsApp that number. You don't call that number. So you can type, you can leave voice notes. But the beauty is if there's any technical difficulties, you can send us a screenshot. We can see what's the message and we can assist you. So if you have any questions, lots of people said the email address shown is that it's not loaded. You just contact the technical help desk. You don't contact UNISA or your lecturers. You contact the technical support desk for any technical issues regarding the Invigilator application. So please take note of that. But then very important also, if you only have one device and you want to make sure you understand how that works, there's a video explaining the in-app browser. You will only need the in-app browser if you only have one device. If you are writing and using a laptop and the smartphone next to you, then you're not going to use the in-app browser. So that is to make sure, if that's the case, that you're happy. Then crucial, there's a demo test on page 8 of the student guide. It's crucial that way in advance you register. Even if you used the app before, then you don't need to register, but log in, make sure your credentials are still fine. Update, because if you've used it in the previous exam, there will be a new version. Update to the latest version, and then do the demo test. Because if you scan that QR code, you can do it as many times as possible, but then you can see, you can access the LMS, you can navigate, you can see what the app does, that it works, and you can make sure that you're ready for the examination. So then you do the demo test, crucial. I don't want to speak too much, but there were people previously who had technical issues just before they've written, and they made quite a bit of an issue when they couldn't get their marks released. We went back and we saw they never did the demo test and they lost their case. If you don't do what you are required to do, there's not going to be, unfortunately, any leeway for understanding if there's issues on the day of the examination. If you've done your preparation and there's some technical glitch, which is highly unlikely, then you will be fine. But it's crucial, you at varsity, you need to make sure you're ready and all of this is in place. Right, and then there's a step-by-step walkthrough. From the step, download the app, where to find it, then register on the app, how you do that, verify your account, very important. So what I want to highlight here also, when you register, you must use your MyLife UNISA email address to register. You can't use your Gmail account or any other account because the licenses are allocated to your MyLife account. So crucial to use that account. I'm going to stop here on this specifically. All I just quickly want to add here, I just want to check if there was something. Yeah, I've spoken about if it's one device or more than one device. I think I've explained that. Just take note of that WhatsApp number as well. So guys, the reality is, what do? You firstly check, does your module require the app? Secondly, you register. If you struggle to register, contact the call center. Once you've registered, you do the demo test, you get familiar, you make sure you're happy with that. You also do a mock test that was spoken about earlier, and you know you're ready. Then this technology is your friend and you're going to be fine. So from our side, all of the best for the upcoming assessment. And at the end, we've developed the solution to uphold academic integrity because it's your qualifications that we care about. All of the best for the upcoming assessments. Thanks, Denzel.
Thanks, Joel. I think you captured that so nicely. As I listened to you, I just think to myself, I wish that when I was actually studying, somebody gave me that kind of really good advice on how to walk through some of these apps. You've really touched on some key points, and I think when you ended up, you stressed the importance of that demo site. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't stress it. Get on the demo site, test the system, make sure you're comfortable with it, and that is why we created the systems and giving you the opportunities now. Now that you know literally what is the proctoring tools used at UNISA, we also want you to have an opportunity to test this out on the actual exam platform, like for example on an MCQ test or a take-home exam. To do this, we've created what we call mock exams, right? So these mock exams are literally just exams that are out there, sample of what possibilities come out. These are generic questions, not discipline-specific questions. Generic questions like what is an online exam, what is a proctoring tool, just to help you familiarize yourself with the proctoring tools and the platform. Now, to unpack this for us, the mock exams platform, how do you get there? What do you do? What it's about? I want to invite my colleague Richard back to the floor. Richard, thank you very much as you walk us through the mock exam. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Denzel. So let's get started with the practical. How do you all the information that you receive now about the assessment types, the proctoring? How do you now test and make sure that you are ready for the exams? So on the site you'll have there's a tile called mock exams. So if you click on mock exams, you'll notice we've got the MCQ and the take home. So as you know already, the MCQ means you're going to be using the quiz tool. The take home is you're going to use the assignments tool where you have to upload a file. But very important, we've got a video that illustrates the steps, how to access it for the first time. But essentially, once you click on this button over here, it will open My Modules. So you'll need to log in with your student number, your password, and then click on the login button. And from there, it will show you this page. So the first time you're going to access the page, you'll have to click this button, Enroll Now. And then if you scroll at the bottom of the page, we've got the 2 types of assessments that you can test. So just note for this example, so the MCQ quiz uses the Moodle Proctoring, the Webcam, while the take-home assignment uses the Invigilator app. So let's get started. So if we go down or up, let's click on Open McExams site. So you'll notice there's an introduction. So if there's any additional information that you need, you can click on these quick links again, just to make sure that you are familiar with all the content. And then pretty much as per the exams portal, your examinations will be listed here at the bottom. So remember, you'll only have one, so it will either be a MCQ or a take-home type of exam. So if we open up the MCQ first, so the first time you're going to access, it's going to ask you for the camera, so you need to click Allow. If you didn't allow it, you'll need to come to this, click on the camera at the top, and then say Allow the camera for this website. So when you get to a MCQ type of question, it's very important to read the instructions to make sure that you are familiar what type of questions you're going to get, what is the time limit, or any additional information provided by your lecturer. Secondly, we'll can have a look at the main section. Here it will tell you exactly how many attempts you can have. For the mock exams, we allow you 10 times, but usually for the examinations, it will only be 1 or 2 attempts that you can do. When does this open? When can you start? And when does it close? So that you know you must submit within that time period. But it can also have a time limit on it. So you have to finish within that specific time. So if they give you a grace period, say 3 hours, the time limit will still prevent you from, I'm going to say, using the full 3 hours, because it's designed for a 1.5 hour examination. But you can, within that time period, start the examination. So once you're ready, you've got your camera, you clicked Allowed, and you're ready to start. The button will show Attempt a quiz, so we can start the attempt again. So from the pop-up, you'll get the message. Here you will have to now agree to the validation process. Make sure your camera picture is clear and that you are centrally in the camera. Remember, any tampering with the camera can be considered misconduct. So here it also just indicates to you again the time limit in which you have to finish the attempt, and from here you just say Start Attempt. So for you that have already done assignments, this might look very familiar to you. So here you've got the multiple choice questions that you need to answer. You've got this quick navigation if you want to skip to a specific question or you want to finish the attempt. But in terms of the proctoring, the webcam will be displayed during the examination here on the right-hand side as well. So remember, it takes pictures about approximately every 30 seconds at random times. So you can browse through all the questions just to answer all the different types of all the questions in the that it's being provided in the exam. Make sure that you select all of them. If you, for instance, skip a question, if say you want to go back to one, you can always click here just to quickly navigate to a specific question. But make sure from your lecture beforehand, if it's not perhaps a linear one where they do want you to go step by step, so you won't be able to navigate between questions. But generally, this will be the layout. So once you've done, you can click on Finish Attempt over here, or if you're on a different question, you click on Finish Attempt underneath the quick navigation. So we'll finish attempt. You'll get a last time just to review all your questions, that you answered everything. If there's a specific question that you perhaps missed, you can always return to attempt, navigate to that question and answer it, or you can quickly click on the link over here to a question. For instance, if it's free, I can just quickly navigate to free to just have a look and answer the question. And then once you're ready again, finish attempt. And then right at the bottom, make sure you still do it within the allocated time period. You can click Submit All and Finish. You'll get another prompt to just confirm, and then you submit all and finish again. So At the bottom, you'll actually see there's a little information, when did you finish and that it was submitted successfully. So this is just, you can always take a screenshot of this as well, just for your own records. And then if there's another attempt allowed, you may reattempt, but then the examinations most likely will be only one attempt that you need to do. So this is the MCQ quiz type of exams. So if you go to the proctoring tool and it says MCQ, and it's going to be using Moodle Proctoring, you're going to be needing your webcam to be switched on, and you answer it just like a normal quiz type of assessment. So if we have a look at the second one, the take-home exams. So as mentioned, the take-home exams is a lot like your submissions that you do for assignments, written assignments. Also very important, read the instructions. When the time actually starts for this, you need to then start your proctoring tool. In this case, it will be the Invigilator app. So you should have your app open already, logged in, ready to scan this QR code. So once you've scanned this QR code, that is when your time is going to start. So you need to do this, have the app ready beforehand to have the access to this QR code. For this QR code is also a demo, so that the team provided, so you actually get an hour and a half to complete all the steps. And then from here, you will then have to download your exam paper and then start your examination. So you can do this then either in Microsoft Word, for instance, on your desktop, or you can do it on a, write it out on paper. At the end, you will, with the invigilation, it will ask you for the selfies to be taken, any additional, proof that you are you that's doing the examination. Then you need to scan it in with the app. So the app will then ask you to take photos of your scripts. So if it's on your computer, you take pictures of the screen with the Word document. Make sure you've got all the pages covered. Then you upload it in the app. So the app gives you 15 minutes after the due time to upload your scripts. Once you've uploaded to the in the app, then you can come to myExams. So remember, you have to submit on the app and on the myExams portal. So that you can't just submit on the app or just submit on the exams portal. You have to submit on both. So in the mobile app, you take the pictures, you upload it, you're done. The exams portal does give you a little bit additional time. Remember, you cannot work on your documents at that time. You should have already then submitted the proof of what you're going to be submitting. And then you can come here within that allocated time just to upload your script. So for here, you can just click add submission again. If you scroll down, you'll notice you get this block area where you can now upload your document. But very importantly, there's a maximum file size of 50 megabytes. So make sure that your files is 50 megabytes. A maximum number of files, this can vary, but prepare for one file to upload. And then also the accepted file types. So generally it will be PDF. Some might accept Word documents as well, but preferably submit in a PDF document. So this is where a lot of the problems come in. Say you've now taken pictures, scanned in your documents, and it's multiple PDFs or multiple images. How do you combine them into one PDF? Or if you perhaps did a Word document and you did a declaration form that you saved this PDF, how do you combine them? So yeah, I just want to introduce to you a website that you can just also note down. And this is called I Love PDF. It's a free service online where you can upload or merge PDF documents. So if it's multiple PDFs, you can merge them over here. If you add pictures that you took, you can convert all the pictures to PDF. You can also, importantly, if it's bigger than 50 megabytes, compress the PDF for uploading. Just make sure that the quality is still good when you actually come for the uploading part. So once you've got now the correct file format, you've got, it's within the allocated file size, and you've got the correct number of files, you can either drag and drop the file on here, or you can click on this icon over here and then choose a file from your desktop. I'll quickly upload a demo script over here. So sometimes here, wait till the name appears for the file to appear. If it still says choose file and there's no name here, the file that you named, just wait for that name to appear here because it actually uploads the file already. So I'm going to go then click upload this file since the name is there. The document is here. I can even click on it to make sure it's the correct document. And then finally, all you need to do is save changes. So again, on the status, it will give you the status of green, so it's submitted for grading, so that you know it's submitted correctly. You can also click on the file over here, just to open it up to make sure you've got the correct file uploaded. So it will give you just an indication there that it has been uploaded. And then, or what document it is. So say you click on this file, you realize, oops, I made a mistake. I've uploaded the wrong file. You can always click on edit submission again. Then you can delete this file. You can delete it off here, upload a new file, and then just save changes again. So don't worry if you upload, you come here and you realize, oh, I uploaded the wrong file. If it's still within the allocated time period, you can edit the submission and upload a new file. So then just lastly, quick note, if you run into any problems, so we introduced you to the contact number already. If you're having experience with, say, the Moodle Proctoring App, you can contact us mymodules22@unisa.ac.za. But very importantly, use your MyLife email accounts. You will probably not get an answer if you're going to use a personal account. So make sure before the exams you've got access to your MyLife email as well. When you register for the Invigilator app, you will also need to access your MyLife to verify that it is you that registered. And then when you email UNISA, always make sure your student number is in the subject line. So this really improves the turnaround time for any of your inquiries. For general inquiries, you can click on the My UNISA inquiries page. If it's any additional information that you need from perhaps a different department. And remember, if you're having problems with the Invigilator app specifically, that's now not the myExams portal, just with the app, then you can always visit the Invigilator support team or WhatsApp the number message, and they will get back to you to give you assistance. So please, when you went through all the material, go and complete the mock exams. It will really just give you the assurance that you are ready so that you can rather focus on studying your material that you need for the exams and not worry about how it's going to be conducted. So thank you very much. I'll hand over back to Denzel.
Thank you so much, Richard, for that and for also unpacking the mock exams for the students. Richard, I'm going to ask you for a favor to please post the link once again to that open course site where the students can access the course content and the mock exam site as well, so that they can get onto that while we're even online and start preparing for that mock exam and testing the system out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that you know what the mock exam is and you have a good idea of how to actually get onto the platform, test this out, what are the online assessments used at UNISA? We know it's MCQs and take-home exams, but what skills do you need to prepare for these exams? And to unpack this for us today and provide you some idea of the skills that are needed, we have invited Dr. Salosh Govender, and she is actually a curriculum development specialist, but the added bonus is that she has an academic background. So she's able to give you academic insights plus information from the curriculum development specialist side as well. At this time, it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Salosh Govender to the floor. Thank you so much, Salosh, for taking the time and engaging our students and sharing this valuable information to our students. At this time, let me hand over you to Salosh as you unpack this for us. Thanks, Salosh.
Good morning, students. Have you ever felt like this? depressed, anxious, overwhelmed, stressed about the forthcoming exams? Or are you currently feeling this way? What to study? How do I study? Well, we are here to help you to navigate through your exams and to walk this journey with you. Firstly, if you are ever wondering what to study, what we want you to do is get familiar with your learning outcomes, because your learning outcomes for your module is going to guide you on what content is going to be assessed in your examination. And every learning unit also has their own unit outcomes. So students, please get to know your module outcomes and your unit outcomes, and in that way, you'll know exactly how to filter your studies and how to, and what you can expect in your examination. Also, practice your learning activities in your study guide. This will also give you an idea on what type of assessments is going to come in the examinations. You will realize that by completing the learning activities, you will...
Sorry, Salosh. Can you just share the presentation? I see the students actually seeing a Word document at the moment.
Oh, is it? Sorry. Sorry, Denzel.
No problem. I think we can just get the PowerPoint.
Okay. You can see it here. Is it projecting, Denzel?
That's perfect. It's not just full screen. Do you want to try to get into full screen, or are you comfortable with this? It's visible.
Is it full screen now? No, not yet.
Not yet.
No?
Not yet.
Not
but
yet.
It's fine. It's fine. So it's visible on our side, so I think you can go ahead.
Okay, here you go.
Thanks.
Sorry, colleagues, it's my apologies. Okay. I just wanted you to look at these illustrations and to see, if you're able to identify yourself with these illustrations. Are you currently feeling overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, not knowing what to study and how to study? Well, if you want to know what to study, then you need to look at your learning outcomes for your module, as well as the learning unit outcomes. The unit outcomes are found in your tutorial letter, as well as in your study guide. This will help you to gauge or to help you to filter what content is important and how the assessment is going to take place. Now, you will notice that if you have enrolled for different modules, each module will have its own exam format. Some of your exams will take place, will take the format of essays, some short answer questions, some may be an open book or take-home exams, randomized assessments, randomized MCQs, and so forth. Right, so it's important for you to know the exam format for every module. Exam formats will differ for each module. What we have done is we have uploaded detailed video recordings of different types of exams in the exam support site. In the video recordings and in the uploads, you'll find that it is a bit lengthy because it includes strategies in preparation for your examination, as well as strategies on how to approach your different types of online exams. What we suggest that you do is draw up a table with the module names, your exam type, and the date, so that this information you can have it ready so that it will not confuse you when you are studying for your examination. Now, let us first look at essay exams. Essay questions require an argument and supporting evidence, which comes from a knowledge gained from the modules, your readings, the seminar discussions, and your assignments. What are some of the strategies for approaching essay questions? During the first 5 to 10 minutes of the exam, write down the relevant points you can remember on all the essay questions you are going to answer. So what it means is that if your examination comprises essay questions, go through all your essay questions first. And then before you forget, highlight the important points for each essay. Before you write, analyze the question. Look at key words and key topics and topic words. Work out what aspect of the topic you have been asked to write about. So if you see the topic, do not simply start writing. Make sure that you answer the question and you know what is required from the question. Develop an argument from the question and include it in your introduction. Because if you do this here, you are giving the examiner the indication that you understand the question and that you're able to apply your knowledge to the question. Structure the points in the body paragraph so that one point follows logically and clearly. As a general rule, one paragraph is equal to 1 point supported by an example, explanation, and evidence. So if you are fumbling or if you do not know what to write in a paragraph, if you're able to demonstrate your understanding by giving an example or evidence from your theory or an explanation, then you are bound to get some marks. Structure your exam question in the usual way. Remember that an essay should not be written, without any kind of logic or any kind of flow. It must be written in a very coherent way where you have an introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Short answer questions. What are short answer questions? Unlike essays, short answer questions requires a concise written answer to a question using complete sentences. It's aimed at testing your ability to integrate what you have learned in the module and to apply the knowledge, different types of cognitive levels. So you'll find that if your examination comprises of short questions, you will have questions of varied cognitive levels. Some of the questions will be easy, some will be average, and some will be of higher cognitive level. So spend more time on your more complex questions. These are some strategies for answering short answer exams. Read the instructions carefully and note how many questions you need to answer. Read all the questions on the exam before you begin writing. Consider the mark distribution and divide your time accordingly. Pay close attention to the wording of the question. Ask yourself what you are being asked to do and how you are required to do it. Do not just write about what you know about the topic in general. Try to leave enough time to read over your answers, and at the end of the question, make sure that every question has a response. Keep your answers to one paragraph and include key words or phrases from the question itself. In that way, you are going to be guided to answer the question or what is required in the question. Problem or calculation questions. What are problem questions? Problem-solving questions vary in formats. You will experience problem-solving questions in your multiple choice exams, your short question exams, or your essays, or even your calculation type of exams. They frequently test your ability to apply the problem-solving skills you learned in the module to new types of questions. So, what are some of the strategies for answering problem-solving exams? Read through the entire exam before starting. This is very important because you might have some problems or some questions that are less complex and some questions that are of higher cognitive level, which will require more of your time because those questions will obviously be worth more marks. So it's important for you to read all the questions and then you answer the easier questions first and then you can do the more difficult questions. Do the easy questions first to warm your brain and to calm your nerves. Read the questions carefully and rephrase them in your own words. If you want to make sure that you understand the question, try rephrasing the questions in your own words. Make sure that you understand what is being asked. Clearly take note of misconceptions or assumptions and discuss these points clearly. You'll find that in many of the modules, there are misconceptions or assumptions that can cause some kind of confusion to students. So it's important for you to be able to identify what could be the misconception related to a concept or a topic. And if if it pertains to your question, please try to iron this out immediately. Ensure that you answer the question, identify the problem, because a question might ask you, might have two folds to it. It might ask you to analyze the case study, identify the issue that's being discussed in the case study, and critically analyze the issue. It might also have a third question that might ask you to provide recommendations or strategies to solve the problem. So therefore, you need to read the question very, very carefully. Now, case studies and scenarios. You might find case studies and scenarios in your MCQs, as well as in short questions and in essays. What is a case study or scenario? Scenario questions require students to integrate key concepts of the module, to apply theories to a practical context, and to demonstrate the ability to analyze and evaluate. It often requires a longer answer, so there'll be more marks for a case study. You'll find, students, that even in your MCQ, not every MCQ question will have the same mark allocation. Some MCQs may have 1 mark, some might have 2 marks, some might be out of 5 marks, because it depends on the complexity of the question. So please read the mark allocation as well. Strategies for answering case studies. Analyze and interpret the question carefully. Look for command words and any specific focus in your question that is related to the case study. Read the case study, underline or note words or numbers that relate to the module concepts or indicate a particular kind of problem. So when you are reading a case study, you will make reference to words that you can relate to in your theory part of your module. Think how you'll integrate your answer. Remember, you will have to mention both the issue from the case study and how it relates to the theory in your prescribed book or in your study material. Check again that you are following the commands. For example, if the question asks you to make recommendations, have you included recommendations in these? If a scenario is worth 20 marks, make at least 5 different points about 4 different concepts in an essay that is related to your scenario. The point I'm making here is, do not elaborate on one point when there are 4 different important issues discussed in the case study. Then you are going to lose points. In that case, out of 20 marks, you may just get only 4. Multiple choice questions includes a statement or questions followed by 4 or 5 different options. And in the options, you will have only one answer, 1 or 2 or 3 answers that are correct. So depending on what the question is asking you, right? The question might ask you choose the 2 options that are correct or choose 1 option that is correct. Okay, so please read the instruction very carefully for each MCQ question again. You must select, quite often MCQs, it may sound like it's easy, it entails guesswork, but students, I want to assure you that MCQs can be very challenging. Therefore, you need to read the questions very, very carefully. In an MCQ, just to give you a little bit of theory about the structure of an MCQ, you'll have a question or what we call the statement, which we call the stem. Then you have options. In the options, you'll have distractors, which are the incorrect answer. And then the key is the correct answer. Okay. Now, the strategies to approach MCQs: budget your time. Do not spend too much of time on one question. Read the question carefully to determine the precise requirement. The question might ask you to select the incorrect option, or select the best option, or select 2 of the best options. Answer the question in your mind before you select your options. Read a multiple choice question in its entirety, the question itself, before glancing over the answer options. And as you read the stem or the statement, underline or circle the keywords. Then, after you've answered the question in your mind yourself, next now you'll read the options. Don't skip this step, because most MCQs want you to find the most correct answers or the best answer. Even if answer A appears to be the correct choice, do not skip the remaining options, because answer B, C, or D might even be the better option than option A. Use the process of elimination. Increase your odds by eliminating answers you know are incorrect. So after you read the stem, right, then you read the options, and from the options, eliminate what are incorrect. Rather than looking at what is correct, look at what is incorrect. If you narrow your options, you increase your guessing chance at the end. And at the end, when you don't know what is the answer, then only through the process of elimination, you make a guess, an educated guess. Pay attention to these words, not sometimes, always, and never. Now, let's look at what is take-home and open book exams. Students, in the chat, they were questions to find out whether take-home exams means that they must have the study material open. Okay, now that's not what it means. A take-home exam means that you are writing your exams not in an exam venue, but in a home venue. Okay, so there's a difference between take-home exam and open book exams. If your exam is an open book exam, now I'm not saying take-home exam. If it's an open book exam, then you'll be allowed to use your study material. But if it's a take-home exams, you are not allowed to use your study material, because then it implies that you are cheating. Okay, so please make sure whether it is an open book exam or a take-home exams. Right, so if you have a take-home exams, analyze the questions. Now, students, I want to say this to you. Because we want to prevent cheating, we want to uphold the academic integrity of your examinations and your assessments. Okay, so you'll find that the format or the way the exams are designed, it is going to prevent you from regurgitating information from your textbook or from your prescribed readings. So most of your take-home exams are going to include application type of questions. So when we ask application type of questions, we expect you to produce or to provide your own practical examples to demonstrate your understanding. Okay, revise your work. Don't submit the first draft. Keep enough time to ensure that all your questions are answered. If you leave out any questions, you are going to be marked down. Beware of plagiarism. Do not copy. Reference your work. Yeah, okay. To conclude, students, I just want to say that life is like a multiple choice question. Sometimes the choices confuse you, not the question itself. And I thank you.
Thank you so much, Salosh, for unpacking that. I like the way you ended it up. That's quite a nice quote for our students to take into consideration. But also, you've actually helped our students very nicely to see what are the different types of the assessments, but more specifically, how they can prepare for the assessment. And I think this is quite important for us to think about. How do you actually prepare for the assessments? And you've given the students quite a number of good inputs into this, and I think that's some really valuable bits as they start preparing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've now unpacked an entire section from assessments to proctoring tools to online assessment skills, and now we want to think about what support do we have for you. And we've invited two different departments at the university to talk about support that are provided for you in terms of the university. Now, at the moment, we have with us the Student Support Contact Center, and the Student Contact Center is a very important point for you. If you are familiar with the work done by the Student Contact Center, it is your first point of contact with the university for many key elements. And at this time, we actually privileged to have with us Jessie Sofolo. And I'm going to hand over to as she unpacks, and this is, as I said, very important. Take note of the information that she provides, the key areas, the key avenues of phone numbers, websites, because this would really help you in the concept. So thank you very much, Jessie, as you unpack this for us. Thanks, Jessie.
Thank you, Denzel, for the opportunity to present ourselves. Good morning, students. Good morning, colleagues. The contact center briefly is where you go to or should go to for any student support help. So we've done a small presentation just to take you through how you can reach us. See in the next presentation, my apologies. Okay. Basically, the next slide just shows us where our offices are. We are based in 2 campuses. Although we are not accessible to students, we are based at those offices. We are only accessible to student support via our contact numbers and other mediums of entry. Our operating hours under normal circumstances is 8 to 4. And we've got our peak periods, which we deem as peaks, your exam, your application, your registration period, your graduation, or any other events that might require us to extend our hours for support. Under those circumstances, then we would support you between 8 and 7 o'clock at night, and we also open to support you between 8 and 2 o'clock on Saturday. And this will be applicable for the exam period. Our contact, how you reach us, and how to also escalate the matters. We have the 0800 number. We have 4 mailboxes, which is the normal general inquiries mailbox, which is inquire at. We've got data inquiries, which you would use to inquire about data. We've got your exam inquiries, which is specifically ring-fenced for exams and allow us to prioritize your inquiries. We also have my module 2022, which deals with everything that is module related. We do the first and in certain instances, also the second level support. When you emailing us, it is important that you confirm your student number. You email us via your UNISA mailbox email address. You include your student number and a brief description of your query. You also attach on the body of your email or your inquiry a screenshot of an error message should you be experiencing any, so that it's quicker for us to understand where you're coming from and what challenges are you experiencing, so that we are able to address your inquiries speedily. We have an escalation process, which is we have 2 line managers, one that manages the office in Pretoria and one that manages the office in Florida. Their email addresses are provided there, and you can email them. It doesn't matter which region or area you're coming from. They are your first line of escalation after you've engaged the contact center on all the above mailboxes. I'm also available as the Deputy Director. I'm accessible. My email address is stated there at the bottom, where you can reach me if you are not winning and you are not getting the support that you deserve. What we just want to also make note of is that we have high volumes of inquiries. So if we're not getting to you speedily, it's not that we are ignoring you, we are just going through the mail. Hence, we have ring-fenced the exams, because we know that for exam inquiries, you don't have time or the luxury of waiting for somebody to come to you. You need help ASAP. We've gone an extra mile. We've created and ring-fenced the web chat where you can DM us. Remember that your web chat, if you want to contact us, is via only the DM, not on the corporate page. It's the link is on your myExam portal. We can talk to you via a DM on your Facebook or Twitter page. Our consultants are waiting there to assist you. Thank you very much for an opportunity, and all of the best with your exam starting on Friday. Thank you, Denzel.
Thank you so much, Jessie. And as you heard, Jessie is actually the Deputy Director for the Student Communication Center, and she's been doing some excellent work there, providing support to our students. So rest assured that you are in good hands, colleagues, especially as you start embracing the upcoming exams. Thank you once again, Jessie, for taking the time and providing that strategic information for our students. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to the next part of our program, which is the second last element on our program for today, which is the support for students with special needs. And to do this, we've invited Mr. Pinchas Nguna, who's not a new face to many of us. He's a familiar face to many of our platforms and the sessions that we've had. And he provides his valuable information on how students can benefit from the provisions of inclusivity offered by UNISA. Thank you once again, Pinchas, for joining us and for unpacking the students' opportunities to engage with the university. And it's always a pleasure to hear from you on this. So thanks, Pinchas. I hand over the floor to you now.
Good morning, students. As mentioned by the program director, my name is Pinchas Nguna from the Advocacy and Resource Center for Students with Disabilities. The Advocacy and Resource Center was established within the Office of the Dean of Students and Student Affairs to provide for the wide range of needs for persons with disabilities. The purpose of our today's presentation is to give you or to provide you more information on reasonable accommodation and online examination for students with disabilities. And also to confirm that students with disabilities are not inferior to non-disabled students. And the acknowledgement of diversity by recognizing that students with disabilities have different but equally valued learning needs. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 exposed the need for students with disabilities to have a wide range of access technology in order to write their online examinations. Just to unpack the definition of disability, it says persons with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. Ladies and gentlemen, for those students who disclose their disabilities at the point of application, that increase their chances of them being placed without being put on the waiting list. And students who are also disclose their disabilities at the point of application, they are assisted with bursaries. There are bursaries available specifically for students with disabilities. And this bursary assists students with your tuition fees, your prescribed books fees, and including the medical assessment fees. For prescribed assistive devices, for this academic year, we have 50,000 allocation per student. And again, for human support, those who require human support, for instance, students who are blind, maybe students who are quadriplegic, just to mention a few, they can also apply for a human support fee, which is 50,000 rands, and the 2,000 rands for medical assessment. And students who also disclose their status at the point of registration, they are assisted by completing special assistant form, and this special assistant form it enables the university to provide study material in alternative formats to the students, including Braille material. And students are also assisted to apply for electronic prescribed books, in particular our students with print disabilities. For special examination arrangements, I must confirm that special exam is not automatic because you have a disability. It is always important that you apply for special examination arrangements. And again, in terms of the invigilation, for students with disabilities are exempted from proctoring because of reasonable accommodation. I saw on the charts, then one student asked, because of the way I sit and the way I look, will I be flagged because of my disability? The answer is no, you are not. You are exempted from invigilation. And again, one will ask, who qualify for special exam arrangement? This can be students with disabilities, special needs, or medical conditions. And you should apply for this by completing the form. And for those students who apply, they should have received by now the confirmation letters of the extra time. And this extra time will be added on the allocated time. And again, I must say that extra time depends on your individual needs. Just to give an example, if a student was, if two students who are paraplegic request for extra time, the extra time will depend on the severity of their disability, as per the doctor's motivation. And the university also provide alternative assessment based on your individual needs if you are unable to sit for the exam on the prescribed mode. Special examination arrangements. As a continuation, one will ask, does UNISA provide oral examination to students with disabilities? The answer is yes, only to qualifying students. As we know that not all disabilities or all students with disabilities will qualify for alternative assessment. And again, then do I apply every year for special examination arrangements? The answer is no, you only confirm once a year. And what happened should my disability deteriorate? You should reapply for special examination arrangements. Just to give an example in this case, if you find that in 2021, we were paraplegic, it happened that in 2022, we are now quadriplegic. Therefore, because the needs are completely different from paraplegia and quadriplegia, then we'll have to reapply to enable the university to provide reasonable accommodation to you. What do I do if my screen reader is unable to read examination question papers? Please quickly send an email to Exam Disabled and the lecture, and we can also CC Upsuite. And for students who does not have assistive devices, please send an email to upsuite@unisa.ac.za. And for students who fall sick during the examination period, please follow the standard procedure to apply for AgroTEDs. And the question is, what do I do? Should I acquire a disability before exam? Please disclose your disability to the university to ensure that you are reasonably accommodated. And the confirmation letters, I must confirm that it can only be sent to your MyLife email address. And again, when you send the request for this letter, should it happen that you did not receive it, please use your MyLife email address. In cases whereby you find that the assignment feedback that you've received is not acceptable, you're most welcome to send it to upsuite@unisa.ac.za to convert it into a format of your choice to enable you to adequately prepare for your exams. Even though the university provided study material in alternative formats, including Braille, it must be noted that exams cannot be written in Braille. This was done to make sure that you are you are well prepared to write your exams. I'd like to encourage students to test their assistive devices before exams, in particular those who received assistive devices recently from the bursary. And for our deaf students, it's always important to try to write in full, even though we know that at times
Okay, colleagues, we seem to have lost our colleague Pintius. It might be a network issue on his side. Okay, so I think let's round up the program. Richard, I see we've lost Pintius. Maybe we'll try to get him back for the next session. He seems to be having some network issues and connectivity on his side. But ladies and gentlemen, on the web page itself, on the open course side, you will find that the very first session that we did on Friday, the 6th of May, if you look at that recording, you'll be able to find Pintius' full presentation, but we will have him in the next session as well. So you can definitely cover up as part of this, and you will find the content to Pintius' session actually on the open course side. Now, I know that we got 3 minutes left, and before I round up in the 3 minutes, we will take our time seriously because I know it's costly for you as well. I'm going to ask my colleague quickly just to do one thing. Richard, I see in the chat that students are still confused between the two proctoring apps. Maybe if you can very quickly just differentiate between the Moodle Proctoring App, the Webcam, and the Invigilator app. Just draw the distinction for our students quickly, and so that they can get clarification on that. Thanks, Richard.
Okay, thank you, Denzel. I'll quickly just go back to the Invigilator app. Okay, so remember what you will do first is first go to the Proctoring Tools. You'll check what proctoring you're going to be using for the exams. So, and that is the one that you can be focused on. So for instance, if you're going to use Moodle Proctoring or the Invigilator app, it might be that for some modules you'll need use the Moodle Proctoring and for others the Invigilator app. So you won't be using both at the same time. Moodle Proctoring is used mostly for MCQ quiz assessments. So you know it's going to be a multiple choice questions that you need to fill in, where Invigilator is for the take-home assignment assessment. So when it comes to the different tools, so if we look at Moodle Proctoring, when you hear Moodle Proctoring, I want you to think Webcam, because this uses your webcam and takes pictures for your webcam. So remember, you don't need to download any apps for this. This runs on the device that you're going to be completing the exam on. You need to turn on your webcam, and from here it will just take the pictures. So no apps required. It runs on the device you are doing the examination, and it is mostly for MCQ quiz assessments. For take-home assessments, you will be using the Invigilator app. So this is an app that you download from the store. It runs on your mobile device. So if you use a laptop, you will still use it on the mobile device. You keep it next to you during the session. So the main difference is the one uses the webcam on your device, where the other one is an app that runs on your mobile phone. And this is mostly used for take-home examinations. So to prepare for this, you'll need to register on the app. You'll have to do the demo of the app. The Mcqs also use the app, so you can get an idea of what the workflow will be for the actual exams. In the Invigilator app, you will then need to take photos of your script that you're going to be submitting, and you submit it in the app, and then you submit it on the myExams platform. The app, if you're using one device, for instance, just your cell phone to answer the examinations, you can, in the app itself, it got a browser that you can use to navigate to the myExams portal. You don't exit the app at any time. You access the learning management system from within the app. And remember, this is only for mobile devices. So if you have problems with the Invigilator app, you can contact the developers of the app. on their WhatsApp email, or you can visit the support website, and there is various methods of finding support for the Invigilator app. So just to so remember, the one is a standalone app that you're going to be using. The other one is already integrated. You just need to allow your webcam for that app to be used. Thank you, Denzel.
Thanks, Richard. So, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, just please remember, it's very important that you have a look at that tool, the Proctoring Tool Guide. Type in your module code and it will tell you exactly which proctoring app that you will use. And remember, you will either use the Invigilator app or the Moodle Proctoring app, the Webcam, or if you're in the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, the added iOS app. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the end of our program. It's been great being with you for this past 2 hours, and I hope that you all have learned something significant as part of this training. Now, on the Q&A, you'll find that I posted a quick link to a post survey. Now, the importance of the post survey is that we want you to quickly complete it. It won't take you more than 2 minutes. It's literally ticking on key elements in the survey. The reason why we're asking you to complete this post survey is so that you can see what you've learned, but also the areas that we need to refocus on in our training so that we really get the knowledge to you that you need. So please take this time quickly to complete that post survey. As we round up, it's also my pleasure to say thank you to all the colleagues from the different areas, different units that have joined us today. For those that have presented, thank you very, very much for your excellent presentations. And for those that have been in the background on the chat, thank you so much for assisting with the chat and providing our students with those key responses on time. And we've tried our best to respond as much as possible to those questions. But where you find that your question may not have been directly answered, please visit our frequently asked questions section, and we will cover some of those questions that we missed out in that frequently asked question. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is Friday, and on Friday we have what we call the student blast sessions, right? So the student blast sessions is where you can literally call in via Teams chat, Teams channel, open your microphone, your camera, share your screen, and you can engage with any of the experts that are leading in these sessions, and they will be able to provide you with on-site support, on-team support, should I say. So basically, when you log in, you have the opportunity to ask your questions to these colleagues, and then they will provide you with the solutions to your challenges or help you navigate. So please join us tomorrow. We have 3 groups. You can join any one of the 3 groups that you have. So if you join the first group and you find there's too many students, simply join onto the second group or the third group. We look forward to engaging with you, each one of you, tomorrow as well. And then please follow on the schedule for the next sessions as well. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues that have been in the background and our facilitators. Thank you once again, and we wish you all the best as you get into your exams. And please take care of yourself. Remember to be safe, and all the best, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues as well. Take care. Thank you very, very much for joining us.